That is absolutely stunning. I'm gonna go for a walk down to the bridge and check all that out now. See where we go. Absolutely.
Hey guys, Mick here. So I'm already halfway through this project, but I thought I'd sort of start halfway through and maybe I'll stop and I'll film some of it and show you guys what I'm doing. The project I'm making at the moment is a insect-proof screen to go in the back windows of the car. Now I'm not talking the back quarter windows, I'm talking the back doors. The idea is to allow a bit of fresh air through these warmer months and keep the bugs out during the night. Now I know you can buy these expensive screens, you can get your window socks and things like that. My idea with this is something I can leave on the car if I want to, when I'm travelling around. Something that I can just slip into the place, not have the window all the way open, just a little gap about yay big. As you can see, it's only, well, I don't even know how long that is, I've just gone by feel. About 16 centimetres high. So the top of this will slip into the top of the window frame on the door. The sides again will do the same thing, and the bottom will just sit on the glass. I may even bend it out just a little bit to slip over the glass a tad. The idea so far, this is the backing piece. As you can see, I've got all my markings and that on it, but this is the backing piece. It will be 2 layers with some fly screen pinned in between, which is just a run-of-the-mill fly screen that you'd use on your doors and windows at home. Keeps bugs out at home, it will keep them out in the car. That's my thinking anyway. So that will obviously pin between the 2 pieces and be bolted down tight and neat in between. I'm also running a 12 centimetre 120 millimetre computer case fan. Now a lot of people don't realise, but computers are actually majority of the devices inside a computer are 12 volt and they're DC. So a PC case fan like this will run off a standard 12 volt battery. So the plan will be to have one of these mounted in the middle, and then I've got a small vent. These are actually made for a boat. That will be going that way on the inside, just to help circulate a bit of air on the inside. For the most part, the opening will allow airflow from the wind, but that if we need a little bit of circulation, if it's a really still night and it's getting a bit muggy or something like that, hopefully the vent there will allow that extra circulation and stop the car fogging up and ending up with a lot of condensation and shit inside. So that's the idea. So far, as you can see, I've cut the back piece out, that's ready to go. I've drilled all the holes, and I've got the front ready to go. What I need to do now, because it's Perspex, it bends with a bit of heat. So I've screwed it down into my desk, and I'm just going to heat this top black line here, if you can see that on the camera, which you probably can't. There's a black line right on the edge of the desk. I'll just heat that and just gently push it down. So that will allow this section here to bend out, and that will form a little bit of an awning, so to speak, a little bit of a shade over the top, so that if we happen to get rain, it will hit that and go away from the window, therefore not getting into it and hopefully not damaging the fan and things like that. I will be trimming that down though. I'm not going to have that the full size. I'll probably cut that to about half height and bend it out on about 45-degree angle, again just so that if we do get rain running down, it's going to push it away from the opening and stop it coming inside the vehicle. So to do this, this is the wife's old hairdryer. She never uses it, so I stole it. On the highest settings, get it nice and warm, and it'll probably get a bit noisy, and it does get a bit warm on your hands, but just simply run it across the top and just softly push down on it. Don't push too hard, because if you push too hard you will break it. Alrighty, so as you can see now, I've added a little bit of alloy on there just to stop the top end lifting, because I don't want that bend, or this section bending and that sort of staying the same. I want this to stay straight. But I've added that in there just to help keep it stable, keep it tight, and I've slowly bent the inside part there out. Now, I've just killed the wife's hairdryer, so I hope she didn't want it back. Guessing it overheated, but fortunately I got just enough heat into it to be able to get it into position. So now it's cooling a little, then I'll come through and I'll just nip it off, probably about here, all the way through, and then that will leave me sort of so much as a little gap to deflect any water, but still enough room for air to flow freely through it. And again, I'll have the fan on the inside anyway to help draw some of the air in on really hot nights, and that it will help to circulate the air and things like that. So, alrighty, I'll let that settle for a little bit more because that's still a bit hot. I'll let that sit for a few more minutes, then I'll take it off and I'll show you the next part. Okay, so the next step, as mentioned, is simply to cut along that line on the little bit of a deflector. Cut along that line just so it's not quite so big, and we'll let better airflow through. So, clean the sweat off from safety glasses first. Safety first, people. That might help if I plug that back in too. Okay, so that's off. Now we've got a nice little deflector there just to help push the rain away. It didn't fully fold all the way right up the top like I was hoping. It's given a bit of a curve all the way down, but that's fine. It's actually quite like that. It throws it away a bit more maybe. Next part. Okay, the next part of this job, as has been mentioned, is the backing. I've already pre-drilled all the holes, so the holes will match up in the correct directions, and I've cut on the backing one, I've cut a little bit off, probably about 5 to 10 mil all the way around. So the front one fits into the window frame properly. Having the two layers, it would have been too thick to fit in. So the front one will fit in, the back one won't need to. But all the screw holes will match up. So now I'm just going to throw 4 small ones in for the moment. As you can see, I don't have the screen or anything like that in here just yet. I'm just throwing 4 small ones in, with a couple of crappy nuts on the back. This is just to hold it together. The idea now will be to go and test fit it in the car and see if I need to trim any more off any other parts, such as the back. I have already test fitted the front piece, and I know that fits nicely. So I've just got to test fit it now with the back on. And again, I'm only throwing these screws in just for the moment to keep it tidy and keep them together. Go on there, you little mongrel. Ah, you bastard. Couldn't be bothered picking that up. Unfortunately, I've only got 5 of these smaller ones, so I've got to use 4 longer ones to do the middle section, and I'm going to use 4 of my 36mm ones, which will actually go through the fan and the vent on the back. So there it is, one piece held together. Let's go see if it fits on the car. Okay, so here we are for the test fit. I've got it all screwed together, and the idea is just to go in this little bit of a gap of the window here. So unfortunately you won't be able to see clearly with my fat ass in the way. Turn the accessories on the car, or the reds on the car, so that you can at least see that the adjust the window height, and then with a little bit of a fold that will sit into both sides of the window, push in and up, and there we go. We've got a nice snug fit. And when you come around the front here, so obviously the plastic will be removed off the Perspex and everything else, but it's a pretty nice snug fit. Open the door back up. Quite easy to put in. I was sort of hoping it would fit on the glass a little better. But there we go, there we go. So that's sitting just on the top of the glass there, so there's no gap there for any bugs to get through. It is pushed up a little bit tighter, but that's fine. I don't see that at all being a problem. It fits in nice and snug all the way around the edges, and the second layer isn't going to cause any issues. So it's window down, pull it down a bit, little bit of a bend, and it comes out. Now the next thing I do want to obviously do, before finalising it all, is smooth all these edges. So I'll go through in a minute. I'm going to smooth all the edges all the way around, both pieces, inside and out. And then I'll lay the screen down in the middle and put the fan and that in place, and then we're pretty well done. Alright, so to do this, all I'm going to do is round off the edges a little bit, just so they're not so harsh on the rubber trims and whatnot when they go in there. And I'm going to do the same just with the edges along here. I did think about using some plastic or some rubber stripping for the edges, but it's too thick to go in the gap that I want. So this will work quite easy. Now I could use a little Dremel mouldy tool thing. It'd probably be a lot faster, but it's not a big job here. So just round those off a little bit. Do all four. And then I'll grab the sandpaper. Okay, so the filing's done. Now, just run the edges lightly with the sandpaper. I'm not using a strong grit, not sure what that is, probably, who knows, but nothing too strong. Don't push too far over the top or you'll end up scuffing the Perspex. If you're not using Perspex, it doesn't matter, but I had this in the garage, so this is working for me. So that's all you need there, is just enough to remove any sharper edges. Just so, again, it doesn't damage the rubber trim and seals or anything that around your windows. What I'm going to do here, because I've got two pieces on the bottom, all the other edges have got, the backing one is a little bit smaller, but the bottom is the same. So what I'm going to do here is just leave this for the moment until I've got everything screwed down and in place, and then I'll just come through with maybe with the angle grinder or the Dremel and just gently knock off the bottom of that and then smooth that one out. So I'll leave that for now. I'll do every other edge in that first. I'll just leave that one to last. If I tried to cut that now with the two pieces, especially not being screwed together, it's just going to bugger up. So I'll leave it for now. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that's all fitting now. I've given it a test fit in the car, I've sanded it down, I've smoothed off all the edges. I've already grabbed the Dremel out and done the bottom. So it's all smooth, fits in pretty nice. Now, pop the screws and the nuts and bolts back out. As you can see, I've put a couple of larger ones in the middle, up on the top side here, one and one, just to help hold that section together while I modify it and smooth it out and whatnot. So that's all done. Pop all of them out, and then I'll remove the plastic, fit the screen, and the screen's going to be the easy part. All I'm going to do with that is lay it down, push the bolts through it. Yeah, lay it down, push the bolts through it, and then I'll just trim it once it's all screwed together. And then obviously the fan will be going on while I do that too. So the back piece is the easy part. The Perspex that you buy, if you're using the same thing, or if you're using Perspex in general, should come with a clear plastic coating. That's just for a bit of added protection so it doesn't get scratched up and whatnot. To be honest, it probably will anyway. If you're a bit of a rough nut like me with it, it'll probably get scratched anyway. And this probably will be scratched before I even touched it, because it's been sitting in the garage for 4 years, 5 years. No, I've had it for ages. I've slowly done little jobs out of some of it, and this is about the last of it. So the same deal on the front side, and as you can see, once it comes off, it's a lot clearer than what it was. I have given it a few scratches, but again, I'm not too fussed about a few scratches. If it's going to be in the car when I go four-wheel driving, I'm sure it's going to get scratched up more then, and I'll probably end up just throwing it in the car as I need it. I won't take care of it because, well, that's just me. Still take a little bit of pride in my work, obviously. I'm very happy with what I've done. It should look good, and it should work well. Okay, so now we've got all the clear coat off the Perspex. As you can see, there's a few scratches in there. I had a bit of trouble trying to get the plastic off on the inside of that too. But there's a couple of scratches. But in all honesty, as I said before, it's going on a four-wheel drive that's going to be used in the bush. It's going to get a lot more scratches than that. But, hey, it looks quite neat, tidy. Should look really good once it goes in the window too. I'll just try and get these last little bits of melted plastic out of the holes here. Good thing with Perspex is it's actually not hard to work with. You've just got to watch your heat when you're trying to cut it, and watch out for scratches. But it's quite easy to do things like getting the little rough edges off and things like that. Now this is actually the same Perspex I used for the switch panel on my roof console. And I have used it for other things in the past, but it hasn't turned out the way I wanted it. So, but I purchased this originally to go as a dashboard in a boat, which the plan for that ended up getting scrapped. So, alright, so now we've got the two of them. I'll line the holes up again so I know which one's which. Make sure I've got them all the right way. Looks like it. Yep, they're all matched up there. Okay, it looks a little bit wonky to be honest, but she's right. So, lay the backing down now. Now I know which way it goes on. Grab the screen out. Oh, that's the crack on the bottom. So again, that's just general fly screen. A bit of scrap that was left over from a job that I was helping a lady on. Lay that down. Set that back on top. And then actually I might just go through with that knife and just nick a couple of small holes in here. Okay, so that's there. Let's grab my small line nuts. Line the first hole up there. Slide it out, push it through. Then put a temporary nut just in place. Now the reason I say a temporary nut, these crappy little square ones that they come with will be removed, and I'll be using nylock nuts on the back of them, simply so the nylock nuts don't come loose. These crappy little square ones, they will come loose over time, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to use the nylocks on there to hold them nice and tight and snug. But for now, these crappy little ones to hold them in place will do me okay. And push tight through there, and there we go. So that will hopefully tighten up all the screen on the inside when I do this. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit loose, there's going to be plenty of excess anyway. But it just looks a little bit nicer when it's tight. So again, that one's already in, tight, and push through. Hopefully you caption this on the camera, and just touch that up. So there we go, the screen's in place. The middle I just buckled, but that's alright. Screen's in place at the moment, temporarily. I'll go through, put the rest of the next 4 nuts in, and then the last 4 in the centre here will be the fan. Okay, so I've got the screws in. They're not tightened up, but the screen's in the middle. 4 smaller screws on the outside and the 4 larger ones on the inside. Now they've actually screwed real nice and tight into the fan anyway, so I don't necessarily need to put a nut on those, but I will. Where's my Ninox? So the screen's probably not quite as tight as I'd like it, but she's still tight enough to do the job. It's going to stop bugs getting in there, and that's the main thing. Now, being that these 4 longer nuts have actually screwed nice and tight into the top, I'm going to change my spanner. I'm going to go to the 8mm ratcheting spanner. For anybody that doesn't know about these, they're a great little tool. You just drop them on, and like a socket wrench or something, you just snip them down. So there we go. Saves taking it off every 2 seconds and bloody having to readjust. Just snip it down with a ratchet spanner. So much quicker and easier. Okay, so the fan's in place. Now come through with the cordless, and again the ratchet spanner. Hope if I had the ratchet the right way. Now I've run the cord across the bottom here. I haven't worked out exactly how I'm going to mount that yet, or how I'm going to connect it to power in the vehicle, but it shouldn't be a difficult job. Temporarily I might just run it off my battery box. I've got a little battery box that I use to charge phones and things, and the PC case fans draw something like 0.1 of an amp. They're actually a really low power draw. Okay, that's all the bolts done up there. So the fan on the back here says 0.18 amps. So that's probably less than what my dash cam draws, to be honest. That draws around about 0.1, 0.2, so that's probably less than what my dash cam draws. So that's all in place there. Then I just come around with a Stanley knife. Yes, it's going to cause a minor scratch on the back of it, but it's not a big deal. And there we go. So again, I haven't organised how I'm going to power the fan just yet. I'll probably for the moment just power that off my little 12-volt box. It runs on I've got two 7 amp hour batteries in that box, and they're just ideal for charging phones and things like that. So I'll probably end up powering it off there for the moment. Later on down the line I might look at a permanent way mounting it into the vehicle, or a plug where I can just plug this cable in and be done with it. So, but let's go fit her in the car and see how she looks. So here we are, moment of truth. Car ignition's on, the screen is all done, it's all sanded down, she's looking pretty nice and neat, tidy, screen's in place. So let's see how it all goes now in the vehicle. So again, it does need a little bit of a bend to fit in, which is a good thing, because that little bend stops it just straight falling out. And then you hit the window, go up, and there we go. There is a very small gap in the bottom there, I can see. Yeah, there is a very small gap across the bottom. Just the shape of the glass is slightly different to it. So maybe I just need to come through and just trim a little bit off in the middle here, but that shouldn't be a difficult job. Just so that it sits a little bit tighter around the curve of the glass. But it's in there, and I think she looks pretty good. So there she is from the outside. You know, and driving along, that is not moving whatsoever. That is not going to come flying out at 100k an hour down the freeway. And yeah, that gives a little bit of a lip there, so it should pretty well drop any water off. It should just drop any water off the top there, so yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with how that's turned out. Take a photo and send it to the missus. She's away for a couple of days, so quite happy with that. Maybe I might need to make the the deflector part just a little bit taller out. Make it stand out just a little bit more, if I can get the hairdryer to work again. Because if I do that, the further that sticks out, the less chance water has of dripping down into here. But otherwise, pretty happy with that. Again, it's not moving. It sits on the glass. I could probably, as it was doing before, actually tilt the glass the fan just a little bit, and there we go. This part here sits on the inside of the window, and then that closes the gap. I may even be able to do it the other way. Yeah, do it the other way, and then water will drip off onto the outside if we happen to get rain. So there we go. That's in place. She ain't going anywhere. I do prefer it on the inside a little bit more. Or flush, because it's not going to move around as much. She ain't going anywhere. She's not going to do anything. At 100k an hour, I'm sure this fan blade would spin like a crazy, so maybe I'll have to get a grill to go on there just to protect little fingers. But yeah, she's looking pretty good. Yeah, she'll spin. But she's all good. I'm happy with that, very happy. Alright, peace guys. Hope you enjoyed that little video, and I'll see you out on the tracks.